Hello, everyone. We're continuing to talk about the drug issue in this country and so much more. Joining me now is Jim. Is it Willfred? How you pronounce it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, you're joining us from. You're in Missouri right now, right?
I am just outside of St. Louis.
Okay. I walked away from the mainstream media a year ago because I wasn't happy with the way they were covering certain things. For example, mental health, drug addiction. We would do stories on them, but it would be a minute and 30 seconds. We never dug deep into the issues. And I wasn't happy with the way the media was handling it because I don't think they were making a difference. Hey, everyone, it's Dave Bondy. We'll get back to the interview in just a second, but I wanted to urge you to become a paid subscriber on my locals community. I quit my job in the mainstream media. I was making good money. I went independent. I started my own thing, and I need the help of all of you. So go ahead and look down below in the description. There should be a link to sign up to my locals community. Locals is just like Facebook, but with no censorship, and you're helping fund what I'm doing. Help me to keep it going. Let's get back to the interview. That's why I decided to step away, and God put me in touch with someone like you, for example. And it's not easy to, say what you're about to talk about. Well, first of all, under your name right there is said a second chance at life. What is that?
Well, I had a desire to start that company back in 2004. I got sober after 18 years of being heavy substance use. And in 2004, I got sober. And because I was allowed to put my life together living in a sober house, I made a promise to God that one day I would purchase and operate some.
Wow. So
And
what do you do? Or let me give the backstory. So that was you, but then you had your own tragedy in your own life with your own son, correct?
I did on June 20th of last year, which is coming up again. I lost Austin.
How did that come about? I mean, even when he was younger, what because other people are probably going to relate to you and they're going to say, "Oh my God, that's happening to me." What happened to him, or how did that evolve?
So, uh, first off, I'll say Austin. I just read this application he put in San Francisco. How he wanted people to know he was an activist. He wanted to do petition to stand up for people's rights, and you know, this was the kid I read on his Facebook after he died. How many people he would stay up for hours and talk to them about trying to help them stay sober or walk miles to just hang out with them. Um, he moved in with a girl, uh, one of his best friends, just a friend, and her boyfriend was a fentanyl user. Um, he ended up giving Austin a joint laced with fentanyl. My only guess of motive was jealousy. I do not know that.
And did he die from that incident? That one.
He did. He did. And he wasn't a fentanyl user. He was active speaking out against it because he had lost three friends and fentanyl. And uh, speaking with the medical examiner, I was told that he had such a little amount of fentanyl in his bloodstream that it was very obvious that he had never used. He had no tolerance.
So the stories you hear about, all it takes is just a little bit. Those people aren't lying. They're saying the truth. All it takes is one time in a little bit.
Yes.
But he had no idea. That's what was it was laced with it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
How I mean, my God, it's not even been a year. It probably feels like it's yesterday. Like I told you earlier, I lost a brother. He had drug issues, and it's been more than 15 years, and it still feels like it's yesterday. How are you even comprehending this, or how are you? What do you? I can't even imagine being in your position, having a child that happened to.
Well, as you can imagine, today's Father's Day,
Yeah.
so it's kind of rough. And not only that, when Thursday comes up, that's the day he died. Um, I handle it by helping others, by bringing education, uh, advocacy for law change, and I'm connected with at least 100,000 people online and different nonprofits all around the country. So I stay active every single day, helping people solve investigations into the murder of their own child. Uh, I'm a Missouri State Representative for the Drug-Induced Homicide Organization, and that's what we do.
You said something about murder, and that it is, in my opinion. I don't know about the law, but did the person that give that to him, were they charged with the crime?
No, it wasn't. But because of the evidence I was able to pick up, uh, the state don't do much. The state prosecutor in the city of St. Louis has prosecuted nobody for this, even though there was 194 deaths from in St. Louis County last year. But I was able to gather enough evidence that the DEA did take it over. And
Okay.
he told me at the very beginning, because the lack of evidence picked up by the police department at the scene, that he may not be able to do anything about getting him charged with Austin's murder. But they did put a tail on him, they did surveil him, and they sold fentanyl, or they bought fentanyl from him 4 times. And he's up for 5 federal charges now, and he won't be getting back out for a long time.
Wow. I want to ask you about several things. First thing first, someone's watching this probably right now and going through maybe what you're going through, or their child is either maybe not fentanyl or a drug addiction, or yourself. What's your message to families? I have 2 children. They're both young, but and God hope I don't have to ever be facing like this. But what would you tell parents or guardians who are, or even those who are in addiction right now, dealing with this? How do you approach people? What do you say to? I mean, you can't just there's no magic words.
Yeah, well, first off, when they tell me their story, I tell them I understand. That's a bond. Uh, we have a very, very strong bond. And if they're not connected, I try and find out that. And I try and tell them that, there are other people that understand, and there's no reason to be in shame. This is going on everywhere. And, I would support them. And then I would actually go into the conversation that if they are trying to seek justice, I will work with them step by step to do this.
That's a big thing about the shame. A lot of people, they think, oh, it's just people in like, for example, I'm in Michigan. We have Flint, Michigan. It's a very downtrodden, like East St. Louis. Apparently, it's people who live in those areas, or it's people who are just homeless, or no, it's people from all sorts of life, right? It's rich, it's poor, black, white, whatever.
Exactly, and I've used that exact statement in some of my events, that there's no economic, racial, political, no status whatsoever. It doesn't discriminate young, old. It doesn't discriminate. It's anybody and everybody, and that's the other people I try to reach out to and help them understand that if they know or hear of someone that's lost someone from this, please don't think of that person as a bad person, or the person that's gone as a bad person. Open your horizon and understand what's going on, because this affects everybody.
It does, but you do not hear about it. Like I said, the mainstream media, CNN, will spend 18, 19 hours a day, yelling at each other about politics or the president, but they don't talk about these type of things that matter. They might do it for a couple minutes, but these are the issues really killing our country.
Yeah. Talk shows like yours, trying to keep it real and talk about stuff that's really going on, that's important and not spoke about. Those are the places that talk about us, and it's like Lost Voices of Fentanyl. I'm connected with 33,000 members nationwide, and one of her big plights is she wants America to put a ticker up showing every time there's more deaths, showing them every death, just like they did in COVID. It's like, this ain't important, this don't matter, this ain't talked about.
That makes absolute sense because during COVID, CNN had the ticker up there with the cases of COVID. But if you put up the amount of people who are dying every day, even from fentanyl, as you said, it's in the hundreds, right? I mean,
Over 300 a day. A day.
wow. The question it's not even talked about ever that I hear about legally holding people accountable for that. Like with the instance with your son and with the instance of, the southern border, and you never hear about that, at least not widespread, that who's held accountable, because a lot of people just think, oh, they're a drug user, they deserved it. That's what you hear from people. But no, it is a crime, because if I walk up and shoot you, like you said, your son had no idea, though, that that's what he was ingesting.
Right. I've used the example to police officers and other people that don't understand this, that if they're sitting in a bar and somebody reaches over and puts arsenic in their beer, automatically there's an investigation that goes on. Why not with fentanyl? Why doesn't it start out with an investigation, and then if it's determined anything else, that's a different story. But if they would have started off my son's poisoning with investigation, it would have been handled different, and the person would have been charged with murder. Because I watched the body cam footage from the police officers. I had to watch that on my own investigation, and I watched them pick up the marijuana in front of my son's slumped over body and put it back down.
Yeah, I mean, you put it that way, and it does make sense. It's the same exact thing. You're at a bar, you're having a drink of alcohol, and someone mixes something in, that's a crime. And there have been people convicted of those crimes for murder before. So yeah. What's the difference? I mean, it doesn't make sense. No. Fentanyl, now there's obviously a problem, and I don't think it's political, because you get Democrats, Republicans, Independents, especially down in Texas. How is it getting here? I think it's obvious. It is coming through the border, correct?
It is. And, I want to put a plug for a group called Border 911.
Okay.
That's a group of individuals made up of he was the head of the DEA. He was in DEA for 20 years and 8 years as the New York City head of the drug task force. And then you had the ex-head of the Border Patrol, the ex-head of Homeland Security, and an ex-head of Secretary of State. All of these people, they couldn't speak about it when they were in office, but they joined a group now and they do speak about it. And the best way I could say is to look up Derek Maltz, Maltz.
Maltz, okay.
He does a lot of interviews, and if people are going to believe anybody, they can believe him. He knows exactly what's going on.
I'm going to reach out to him and have him on here. I know I'm not a big famous guy like Joe Rogan, but hopefully maybe he'll give me a chance to talk to him, because to be able to speak freely would be something. Because I don't think people understand the intricacies of how it's crossing the border. And then I've heard, is it made in China or there? I don't even understand a lot of how it all works.
Yeah, I can explain way too much. So in China, they've been supplying the precursors for meth for a long time to the cartels. Okay. And then they came up with the precursors for fentanyl. Now it's in Wuhan, China. Imagine that. Same place as COVID. So this drug has no purpose for doing anything except for a poison. That's it. It doesn't have any purpose to sell. They ship it over to the cartels on ships. The cartels will meet them out in the ocean, pick it up, bring it back to their makeshift laboratories, and they will mix it up and make it into a powder, where then they might press it into pills, or they'll just send the powder over. And the thing is to understand, in these, there's medical fentanyl, and then there's illicit fentanyl.
Yeah, I get people upset at times, because I've done stories on that sometimes people confuse the two. They are two different things.
Yes.
Obviously. Yeah.
medical fentanyl is made in a laboratory. They have specified amounts where they know how they're putting it, and they know what they're doing. It can still be abused, but that's the thing. Illicit fentanyl is made in the jungle and these little things where the cartels just put stuff together. They don't know how much they're putting in what, and they send it into the United States. So it comes in here through, yes, our legal ports of entry, and it comes through a lot of times with Americans because they're less suspicious. But if you listen to Derek Maltz, he will also tell you how much comes in through the illegal sides, where a lot of people want to argue, well, it's not coming in through our unclosed borders. It's coming in through the legal ports. No, that's not true. It comes through mail straight from China. You can buy it, just get it delivered to the distributors. Any package that comes from China that is marked on the outside of the package saying it is less than $800, it goes through with no checks, no nothing. And that's called the de minimis loophole. And there's some of us trying to work on getting that shut down.
So, for example, that would be like, and you said 300 a day. Is that fentanyl deaths?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be, for an example, if you put it, say, a bomb going off every day from the Chinese or from wherever, a bomb going off every day killing 300 people.
Yeah, or Jelly Roll went to Congress to talk about this. What he said is, if we had a plane in the United States of America every single day going down with 300 people on it, we would shut down every plane. We would find out what's going on immediately. And there would be people held responsible for these deaths. They don't do it. No ticker, no responsibility, no talk.
Yeah, and I think, why, I don't know what I want to say. Why is that? Is it just not popular? I know, like where you are in St. Louis, they care more about, certain social issues and certain things, but it seems like they're not touching these issues that matter. Is that why people do not trust the government? They don't trust their elected officials, or what's going on?
There is so many things that you can dig into. There's lots of conspiracy theories and everything else, but looking at the facts, we have the ability to declare this as a mass weapon of destruction. We know where it's coming from. The two places, China and the cartels, we know this 100% sure. If we declared that as a mass weapon of destruction, which is killing more people in the United States than anything ever has, and it's a chemical warfare, we could go down and take out the cartels immediately. We could, at minimum, start doing sanctions against China until there's a stop. Not just have a meeting with the China president and he says, yeah, we're going to stop it, because the Communist Party in China is funding what's going on, and it's been investigated by our administration, and they found this out. It's not being done,
and it leads to like the death of your son from China all the way to Missouri.
It leads to the death of my son, and it's something I didn't tell you, but the same kid that killed my son killed 3 other people by selling them Xanax and Percocet laced with fentanyl.
Yeah, I mean, not that we had many drug problems before, but now this. And I always wonder, why do they lace it? I mean, do they know they're the dealers, the people like in St. Louis? I know why the cartels, they probably don't care, but if you're a drug dealer, why are you lacing things with fentanyl if you know it could kill people? Why is that happening?
That's a really good question. So
is it to get them more addicted to it? More addicted, or
yes, a couple reasons. The fentanyl is so inexpensive. You can buy a fentanyl pill that could kill 3 people right now in St. Louis for $2. So
wow,
and it is major addictive. So it's so cheap, they can make Adderall pills, or they can make Percocet pills just by putting in the flavoring. You can get the pill presses on Amazon and make them yourself at home, and it's real cheap, very inexpensive. So that's one of the reasons the dealers do it. Second reason, just like you said, it is so addicting. If you get your Percocet or your weed, which is sprayed down with fentanyl, from this particular dealer, and if you don't die, he's got a customer for life.
So so for them it's the losses are those who died, but the gains making more money of those who live. It's a business for them.
It is a business. It's all about the money.
But that should be a crime. Do you have any idea in the United States, have there been? I've only heard of very few, if not any, like murder charges brought in, like with your sons. Have there been other cases of people actually charged with
Yes.
murder? There have been.
Yes, there is many cases. In the state of Missouri, it's the federal prosecutors that do this. There is a federal drug-induced homicide law that declares if you deliver somebody an illicit drug and they die, you can be charged with homicide.
Okay.
So the feds will look into it and will prosecute. There is some state laws, like the state of Texas. They change the laws for the same thing. So when you have a drug-induced homicide law in your state, it gives the police department the funding and the time and the officers to investigate. Anyone dies from fentanyl in the state of Texas, there is a murder investigation started immediately.
So that's a local level. If you take it on a wider scale, a national level, then you could say that the cartels and China are the ones delivering it into the country, and they are also part of the murder.
Yes, yes, yes. And it is very well known. All proven, all documented, all everything. But our government is doing nothing. And it is. It's so so questionable about what do they have going on.
I know certain politicians have been made fun of before. I think it might have been Trump. Others have said we need to bomb the cartels, and it gets taken out of context. And the way you just explained it makes perfect sense, because the media will sometimes take a clip of it, put it down to 5 seconds, but they won't play the whole part of why. What are the cartels doing? How are they involved? That's what I had a problem with the media when I was in it. They wouldn't explain the whole thing, but when you explained it a little while ago, it made perfect sense. They're organizing the deaths of Americans.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And if you don't think it's intentional, I don't know what to say. Do investigations. Watch Derek Maltz. If you don't think it's intentional, watch Derek Maltz, and you will understand so much more about what's going on. You know, what's going on with the Chinese also coming in through our side borders that nobody talks about. They're coming in as single men with a backpack, no kids, no children, and it's
every day. So if there is someone, I guess the message should also be, if you're doing basically any kind of drugs, buying it wherever, you need to be very careful, because all it takes is that one little bit, and it's happening. I remember I hear on the police scanner, overdose. Someone has died. All it takes is one little thing that you don't know. So if you're on the streets or where you're ever doing drugs, you need to be careful. You don't know, right? If the fentanyl's in there.
2 milligrams of fentanyl. It can fit on the head of a sharpened pencil on just the lead part.
So there's no way to know, obviously, if you're buying something, if that's in there.
There is absolutely no way, and you might as well go ahead and assume that there is 8 out of every 10 pills on the street now have a lethal dose of fentanyl in them. 8 out of every 10 pills.
So is that the message as well for those who are struggling with addiction right now? They need to know that this is out there, 8 out of every 10. So there is a strong chance they may not die from whatever other drug they're taking. They may die from something they don't even know they're taking.
Yes. 8 out of every 10. That there's the DEA does presentations all over the country, and they have a video they put together. It's called "One Pill Can Kill," and they go around the country educating people on this.
Wow. What would you before I wrap up here? People watching this and they get upset about this. I know I'm upset, and I would like to do something. What would you urge the average person or everyone to doing? What can they do to help make a difference? They always say, call your lawmakers, do this. What would you probably had people reach out to you? What can the average person do to try to get the government or someone to get their butts moving on this?
they can join in with us who already are,
Okay.
because there are groups of us all over the country that are trying to do something. If they can just, if they really want to get involved, which I've had people reach out to me, they just join in with us. Let us educate you about what's going on. Let us tell you where to go so you can make informed decisions. Because as we join as a group, we can make a difference. The thing is,
What?
that little people all over, nothing gets heard.
No, you're right. What do you have like a? What's the best way if someone wanted to contact you? They could message me and I could get a hold of you. But do you have a website, a Facebook group, a page, or something?
I do. My Facebook page is A Second Chance at Life. And
Okay.
my website, I got it down for servicing right now, but it's the same thing, A Second Chance at Life.
Okay.
I'm just a normal guy with a normal job, and I've never done any of this stuff before. I've had to learn too much to do, but it's
Well,
too not to do it.
yeah, I'll put the link to your page. I'll message you after we're done to make sure I got the right link. I'll send you a message. But I'd like to have you on again because this issue, the mental health issue,
Yes.
these are things that like aren't being talked about. Like I said, CNN will talk about whatever all day. They'll talk about the border, but I mean, yeah, it's just sad because people who aren't seeking out, like you, who don't follow me or follow you, or if they just sit and watch CNN all day, they don't really know the full context of what's happening, and that's sad.
No, I call it the dumbing down of America.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember I had bosses tell me that people could not watch more than a minute 30 of a story or they lose interest. And I think we know now, though, I hope people are starting to wake up to what's going on. Do you feel a little optimistic that people are starting to realize that something's not right, something needs to change?
Um,
I hope.
I don't feel optimistic yet.
Yeah.
I still talk to people daily that think it's the legal fentanyl, that still will say, he was a drug addict, that's why he's dead. I talk to people daily, and because I've learned so much, I'm blown away at how little the general public knows.
Yeah, and I hear that too from people. In my job now, I correct them, and heck, from now on, if someone says that, I'll send them a link to our conversation, and that will open their eyes, I hope.
Yeah, I hope.
But I'm going to let you go. I'm going to put this together. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to have you back on again, and I will put out the link so people can get in touch with you if they need to.
I would get on any time you want me to. This is what I do. This is what I do. This is my life now.
I appreciate